This conference will now be recorded.
Sorry, I think I got somebody coming. Oh yeah. Customer awaits.
Cool. Be sure you kill your mic. You might tell
Yeah,
us something we don't want to know.
I used a rotary today.
I bet that is kind of weird. That's kind of like if you work at a pizza place and you eat pizza. It's kind of odd, isn't it? You kind of
Yeah,
probably don't even think about them much, do you?
I got to refresh my memory every time I do one. Make sure I'm doing it right.
Right?
I'll be right back.
Okay.
I received my rotary yesterday, finally.
Okay. Cool. Cool.
I'm still waiting on laser, but
Yeah. that's the crazy part. Usually all your other
yeah,
stuff comes first.
right.
Make sure I didn't forget anything. Trying to help a guy with some air assist things. One side's not coming on. So I'm multitasking.
Probably do a lot of that.
Yeah, quite a bit. I got 5 screens I'm looking at right now. So, and I'm gonna add another one pretty soon.
I've got three. I'm actually working from home, and of course I've got the webinar here on my phone. But yeah, I
And
return
once
back to
you
the
go to
office
once
next
you have
week.
yeah, once you go to multiple monitors, it's hard to use one ever again.
I could use three for work because I've typically got three instances of Excel open. I've got an
Mm,
OmniBubble program open, ProNest. So
right.
AutoCAD.
Oh yeah. Takes a lot of resources. I remember when AutoCAD, we had the math coprocessors in our machines and those digitizer pads. I think it was, I don't even know what release it was, but that was fun. I forgot most of that though. So I forgot to record last week's, and I was trying to think of some of the stuff we were talking about, and I think Glenn had some notes. I was looking for a set of relays. I just found out that we're putting these relays in the machines now. They're SMC relays. They're good relays. Not that the other ones weren't, but the other ones were totally different. Um, and I think they did that so that they're just better. But I didn't realize it until I just got a call on some because these have wires on them already and the others don't. So there's some termination inconsistencies that I'm walking them through. But if anybody has any questions, feel free to jump in. Trying to think if there's anything new that I've put out.
Right. When I'm ready to get my first hour in, I've
Hmm.
been uh, getting review, trying to get my stuff in order. What do I do? How do I go about signing up for that?
I'll put it
Okay.
in the link. There's a place on the support page. I don't know if that's what's going to come on. No, it isn't. So monitor 2, monitor 1. I think it's that one. I think you just look up 1 hour. I need to rename it because there's a thing in here, typical 1 hour training session. And then there's 1 hour initial training session. I'm going to change that, I think, so it's easier to spot. But here's the link. I'll put it in the chat.
Okay.
And then it's got 2 calendars on it. I'll show you. It's right now the way we're doing it. There's Chris's calendar, and he's got a lot of evenings and weekends, later in the afternoon and stuff, and some stuff on the weekends. And then I've got some times, more bankers hours and that kind of stuff. So we kind of split it up so we can have some throughout the day. So there should be a good time slot for you in there somewhere. Just
Okay.
choose from either calendar.
All righty.
So,
Was someone asking about rotary? I heard something.
oh, John was saying he got his today, and then now he's just
Oh,
waiting on
okay.
the machine. I think that was John. Yeah. So
There's probably a bunch of people that have the rotaries by now, not machines.
yeah. Well, the machines evidently are starting to come in a little early in some cases too, which used to not be very uncommon. They were usually a couple weeks ahead of what we tried to say anyway. It's hard to gauge that stuff, especially the way logistics is.
Yeah,
I use the bad word.
yeah. The L word.
Yeah, we can't use the L word. I was trying to think. We were talking about some stuff last week. Were you on the last part of it, Jason? Glenn was. Glenn's not on here.
I was on the whole thing from start to finish. What do you
Yeah.
mean?
Well, like the last part of it, we actually sparked up a conversation, and
Oh,
I
well,
forgot exactly
if
what was.
we were talking about, I know the rotary, the change in the rotary, and I actually got some samples here that I could show
Well, there you
of
go.
of
Run with it.
the new stuff. So here in about probably around July, late June, early July, start coming out with a lot of new metal parts for the rotaries. Some of them being, I got like a sample. This is a low roller wheel. The solid billet machined aluminum wheels. You have this was a prototype that wasn't colored, but it'll be black also and ball milled around the edges.
Hmm.
And then we have like the ball screw wheels, which raise and lower and move the axes, I guess you could call them, along the lead screws. And then the top plate.
Nice.
And then, well, your guys's will be blue, but these are for my resale. But the Thunders will all be blue, these parts. And then also the lift bracket, which I don't have, and the slider bracket, which is the little one that hangs off to the side to move the rail back and forth. Those will all be metal.
Oh, wow.
As well. So basically, the wheels and any common failure item, either it be during shipping or during kind of, I guess, normal use, bumping, banging, things that could break potentially.
Or the laser could potentially burn.
Oh, that too. So basically the only thing we'll have left is plastic, or the printed material would be the bearing blocks that hold the bearings for the axles to spin on.
Sure.
The heel plate, the clamp, and then the belt tensioner. So those will be the only things left in plastic. And eventually, I'm trying to figure out a way to make them all out of metal. The clamp part might be a little difficult because it is so kind of intricate and a large piece. I might be able to try to scale that down a little bit and make it a little bit, because it's bigger because it's made of plastic and it needs to be stronger. So I might try to engineer something that's a little bit more streamlined looking, that it will be easier to manufacture out of metal, cheaper, obviously. Because once this price increase takes effect for the new stuff, I'm pretty much done with the price increases from there. So any and everything else that leads up to future upgrades in the metal parts, it won't be any charge for. They'll just be, because basically what I'm doing is I'm kind of offsetting. I'm kind of averaging out what it costs in total and what now. So by the time it all comes out, it's kind of a wash almost.
Right.
So basically, I'm charging what it would cost to get them made. Period. I'm not really. I don't have much of any markup on it at all.
Yeah.
It's just the actual cost to make it metal.
Right.
So, but yeah, so that's what's coming here. Probably, I would say, realistically, probably first part of July. So I'm excited for that. See how that turns out.
Nice.
And hopefully
that's gonna be super.
continue from there and eventually make it all out of metal. But
Yeah. And Hardeep, I don't mean to call you out, but I have to, man. And Cheyenne, you need to send this guy some swag. You just broke the internet today, man. When your dog started licking your head, that was the greatest moment ever.
What did I
You-
miss?
no kidding. What did we all miss?
That was great. His dog
Oh, I
jumped
saw
up
that.
and he was giving him some loving. Yeah, it
Oh.
was awesome. So
That was pretty funny. That was epic.
He
Yeah.
does that every time he wants attention from me, you know. So
that's awesome. Mine does too. That's why I got such a kick out of it. So absolutely. Yeah, I'll send you. Yeah, I say we send this guy a T-shirt. That would be super. I'll pay for it even. That was sweet. Anyway, sorry.
I love it. He likes to dress up too. So
So that's cool.
I need a Thunder hat's what I need.
Yeah, actually, I think they've got those. I got this one actually from Mark Lazar's wife, and she was making them, not really affiliated with them, just making them, and that was one source. And I think that's where I got this one. But I think Thunder's got some that are gray or maybe some different colors. I'm not sure. Oh yeah, Jason's
there's a
showing one.
gray and blue trucker.
Yeah, my wife told me my hat stinks, so it's time for a new one.
I blow through hats about once a month. I got so many, not even funny. And I don't want to throw them away because I think I'm going to use them again. But man,
Exactly.
some of them stand on their own, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, that's the one that I'm wearing right now, according to her.
But,
I do have a question for you though, Jason.
Yeah.
Are you a Buckeyes fan?
Unofficially, yes. I'm
Okay.
not. I'm not much for sports, but if I had to, yeah, because obviously that's where I'm from. But
Oh, you are from Ohio. I didn't know that.
yeah, yep. Why do you
No,
say
I just-
that?
Because my FedEx slip said "Go Buckeyes" on it, and I did catch that, and I'm going, "Huh, he's a Buckeyes fan."
Yeah, I do that with pretty much anybody that orders from Ohio. To either one get a rouse out of them, or otherwise just saying it, I guess.
Yeah, because
Actually-
we do have a few of those people that are fans of the state up north.
Yeah, I should start doing it to all the ones up north there and send it.
Yeah, now that would be epic.
There you go.
What part of Ohio are you from?
Oh wow, who's that?
Somebody's
Rick.
laser.
That's Rick or Al, one of the two.
Yeah, it was Al. He got it.
No.
That
I
thing
gr-
was going at 1,000 millimeters per second at least.
I grew up in Athens area and in Columbus.
Okay, I live just out northeast of Columbus right now.
So you're in Zanesville or
No, I'm in Newark.
Newark? Okay, out by the
I'm out.
national trails.
Yeah, I'm northeast of Newark. I live out where the Amish live.
Oh, okay. Yep, used to go out there National Trail. I don't know if it's still called that anymore, but
Yeah, they still have their
Yep.
races and stuff out there.
Yep.
Now they have Christmas lights there.
Huh?
Yeah, they do Christmas light shows there now.
Interesting.
Yeah. My wife went to it this last year and she goes, "Do you want to go?" And I'm like, "Nope, take your mom and dad and enjoy."
So, what you making over there, Al?
You're on mute.
Oh yeah, your machine voice is drowning you out pretty good.
I can't hear him.
Uh-uh.
I can hear him. I just can't make out what he's saying.
Hey buddy, what's
better.
up, man?
You got your fan on?
Yeah, well, I'll just stay on. I'll just mute myself out for right now. I'll just listen in.
Already?
Hey, Brian.
Hey man, how you doing?
Good, good. I got a question about the air compressor. Um, uh, I'm thinking about a tankless California Tool air
Hmm.
compressor. Do you know anyone who's using that with the 24?
A tankless?
Uh-huh.
Um,
Yeah, it's basically
does,
just like the one that comes with it,
yeah.
the
So it would have to.
diaphragm pump.
Yeah, if you didn't have a
Uh-huh.
blow off on it, you would have to have it shut off, on and off with the machine, and you'd have to make sure that the power usage, the current draw isn't too much for that.
Oh, I see.
Because unless there's any kind of regulation or a blow off valve on it, that thing will just keep on building pressure. There's no way to govern it.
Well, well, the way it's designed, when it turns off, it depressurizes.
Okay, so is there a pressure can you an adjustable pressure regulation on it so you could set it at 40 for instance?
Oh, sure.
Okay, well then I think that may be okay because that's like those little like a
Yeah, as
airbrush
long
thing
yeah,
almost, isn't it?
as long as it reaches the pressure and stops, you should be
Yeah,
good.
yeah,
Oh, okay. Cool,
You just
cool.
you just don't you just don't want it to keep dumping air into the system because it's going to
yeah,
pressurize to the point where something's either going to
yeah.
break
If
or
the
Right.
important part on those pumps, if you put your thumb on the end of them, and they'll shut themselves down or whatever, that's what matters because if it just keeps building pressure like those diaphragm pumps and stuff, those aquarium pumps, you can mess those things up by too much back pressure. So that's why they have to blow off. But if yours is made, you know, for the supply to be shut off and on, then yeah, absolutely, I think that'll work. I don't know
And
much about it
it's only
or
one
what model
question
you're
I
talking.
have about it. It's I know it has a foot pedal, but I don't know if it has like a dedicated on and off switch.
Yeah, that sounds to me like that's gonna pump the entire time that it's on with no regulation. That sounds like a airbrush pump to me,
yeah, that's
and
what I was
and
going to
that's
say.
not. Yeah, and that's not going to be the best choice. If you do, you will need to have it some sort of regulation. It needs to be tied into the machine where it only runs when the air is needed.
I
Um,
see.
yeah.
But for the
And
but
just
for the
Are
money
you?
you can get one of the smaller ones. Like I have a 5.5 gallon. It's got the twin tanks that are stacked.
okay.
Um, it's a let's see what it's called here. It's a Quiet
Are you?
Tech.
Are you looking at buying one, or do you already have that one and want to see if you can use it so you don't have to buy
No,
one?
no, Brian. I'm gonna buy one.
What's the price on that one that you're looking at, if you don't mind me asking?
It's about 200.
Okay, well you can get an 8010 for that.
Yeah,
You can get an
you
aluminum
can
tank 8010 for not much more than that.
Yeah,
you can get
you're right. By the same company, California Air.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that's about at Home Depot they're $207 for the aluminum and 79 for the standard steel tank.
Hmm.
I was just trying to save a little space because I'm going to be running a film extractor. I got my
Hmm.
BOFA film extractor in last week,
Hmm.
and that's big. And then the laser, the 24, is sort of big for
Yeah.
my
Well,
garage.
why don't you do this for me?
Uh,
Uh, I think that's a 50-watt pump that's on those, or no, I had to see what it is. Let me see what the current draw of our stock pump is. And if you'll shoot an email or let me know what the model number is of that compressor that you're looking at, that smaller one, let
uh-huh.
me see if it'll handle being on the system. If it will, you could use it just like you use the aquarium pump, and it probably would be a better one than the one that comes with it because those aquarium pumps only max out at about 5 psi. They
Here
operate more
Right.
on flow than they do pressure.
And
I
and
drove.
I've been looking for a larger aquarium pump, something with a max of maybe 25 to 30 psi. But I
Well,
can't find it.
you won't find them much bigger than the one we're putting on there.
Is that
Uh,
right?
yeah, there's a gold version, but that's just paint.
The gold versions I've had a lot of or I've seen a lot of issues with them where the diaphragm breaks down really easy and then it sends the particles of rubber into your air system,
Yeah.
That's not
dam-
good.
damages your lenses and stuff, I wouldn't use a diaphragm personally on it unless you absolutely
So
had to. But I put in the chat, I put a link to the one that I run on my
Okay.
24. So
Hey,
if you want to look at that,
when you're running that, right? How
yeah.
often does it cycle?
It depends on how much air. Like if I'm engraving, I only have maybe two or three psi, maybe.
Right.
I don't know. I'm unregulated, but
Say
just
if you
enough,
cut it.
just enough to give you a little back pressure off the nozzle.
Right.
And it'll run probably, I don't know, cycles probably on and off about every five minutes. So I'll get about 5 minutes of engrave time and probably 3 to 5 of on time as it builds up, and then it just cycles that way.
I see. I see.
So
You,
it's not
you-
it's not a bad cycle. I mean, sometimes, like I said, it just varies on what you're doing.
sure, sure. And you probably use you're doing cups a lot, so it probably cycles once per cup, I guess.
Yeah, it'll kick on once during the engraving of a cup.
Okay.
So
Okay.
basically it'll run, and then about 2/3 of the way through it'll kick on, and then it'll be off for the rest of the engraving, and then it's just cycles kind of that way.
yeah,
But
it depends on how long your airlines are and if you have anything else in line with it, like gauges or meters or regulators and
yeah,
all
Now, if
kinds
I
of
was
things, which
cutting quarter
nozzle you
inch,
use and everything.
if I'm cutting quarter inch and using more air pressure, say 30 pounds of air, I guess it basically would stay on the whole
yeah.
time, basically.
Mine I usually cut at about 60 for
Oh, really?
anything, just because more is better than none or less.
Okay.
But I usually run probably about 60, and the compressor that I have will hold 60 constant with cutting. So
Okay. So it'll stay on the whole time, basically.
pretty much, yeah.
Okay. Okay. And since they're a quiet system, it's not that bad,
No, I
I
mean
guess.
it's a little bit louder than the stock pump that comes with the machine, but not much.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I mean,
That's cool.
I have it sitting like over that way about 5 feet from me,
Uh,
and I can run it, and I can still sit here and talk to you and not have any
Yeah,
problems hearing or anything like that. So it's
yeah,
pretty good.
mine's, I can literally touch mine. It's underneath Odin right here next to my desk, and it can be on. I just
So like,
linked a thing in the chat about some sound things, some
oh,
general
cool.
sound things.
yeah, I don't know if you can hear mine. Hold on a second.
Of
No.
course, you probably got a noise canceling mic, so it's probably gonna.
Oh yeah, I didn't think about that. Never
How,
mind.
That's the reason I got mine. I can have 3 things in here running at once, and I can still talk on the phone with this thing. If my
Yeah.
oh,
battery,
yeah,
if my headset ever breaks, I might as well lay down in the floor and die.
But yeah, I mean,
yeah.
it's tolerable to sit and have a conversation, not even probably maybe 8 feet away from it,
Yeah,
and
Oh,
I can sit and have a conversation and not have any problems. So it's
oh,
really good.
cool.
I think it's like 70 dBi.
That's not bad. Well, the
No,
California Air, they advertise 62,
62.
and
yeah,
and and I can get that with an 8-gallon tank for about 200. So I'll probably go with that, even though cutting during cutting, any pump I get is going to generally run
yeah,
constantly. You know, it's
Yeah,
like having a big hole in the tank if it's running, I guess.
yeah,
yeah.
Uh,
exactly.
so
The the biggest thing is too is if you're looking at any of these machines, you want to look at the duty cycle of them, because that's what's really gonna, like, I know it's California Air on the bigger machines, like the one I have. Well, I'll keep it nameless. But the bigger machine that I have, if I'm cutting on that, um, it's going nonstop, and I have a 26-gallon Quiet Tech 26 it's a 26-gallon tank, and that one will run pretty much constant if I'm cutting with that.
right,
And
right.
so, but with the California Airs that come with those machines now, a lot of people have had problems with the duty cycle because it's only like 20 20 minutes maybe.
Oh,
So
Well,
if you're
the
running,
duty cycle is 20%, but on that 80-10 that I have, I've run it for 2.5 or 3 hours. It gets
yeah,
hot and it makes a lot of condensate. I had to drain the bowl,
oh,
but
okay.
yeah,
but it
that's
hung in there.
Wow.
yeah.
Okay.
There've been issues. I mean, it's like anything else. Some people have issues, some people don't. I've never
Yeah,
had
if
a
you
issue with the Quiet Tech, and I've had people that I've recommended to get it have one within a month of having it.
yeah.
So I mean, it, it,
Oh,
it really depends. Like your
right.
conditions, your air temperature, your condensation in the air. I mean, there's so many things that can play into that. But
And if you're a hobbyist or whether you're doing high volume production, if you're doing high volume production and piece count matters, you probably want to go get a screw drive or
yeah,
a continuous duty pump, more of a medical grade. And Cali Air makes those, and so do others. But
yeah,
Oh,
it depends on that stuff too.
right,
So,
right, right.
yeah.
Next question is, I'm sort of on the fence about, this is probably for Jason. Uh, I'm on the fence about getting the low roller, man. I mean, it looks better than anyone out there. But I'm worried about everyone is into the tumblers right now. I don't know if it's like feasible for me to throw my hat into the arena of that, you know?
I
Yeah, I
haven't.
mean,
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
most people that get into it, I mean, a lot of people have that kind of train of thought when it comes to it. But like for me, my niche in the community that I live in or the area that I live in is my niche is I do custom stuff. There's probably not anything that I'll turn away. Um,
Oh,
Most people only do what they sell, or what have you. So you got to kind of find your place, I guess, in the market where you're at.
yes, that makes
Um,
sense.
like if say you have kids in school or grandkids or whatever, and their school does sports and things like that, you can try to get in with that. I've done that before.
Hmm.
I got you.
You can go to
Teachers
the
associations,
yeah,
all kind of stuff.
teachers association, the realtors. They do a
Yeah.
lot of like
Yeah.
welcome home gifts. I've done a lot of those. Um, so you can kind of market yourself however you feel that the market calls
Right.
for, or what your area calls for. That's like fiber engraving for weapons.
Right.
There's nobody within probably 50 or 60 miles of me that does fiber engraving. So I get people coming from, hour and a half away, out of state even sometimes, to come and get stuff done because people don't do that kind of thing. So you just got to find where you might fit in and just kind of run with that.
I got you.
I,
Yeah,
I will say the ROI on one of those rotaries, especially if you're not doing one-offs, if you're actually doing 5 or 10 or 20 or 100 or however many, that thing's an ATM machine, because you put in a $6 cup and 3 minutes later you have a $30 cup.
right, right.
So
That's right.
Yep.
One
Hey,
other
hey,
thing,
Jason, I'm
one
in
other thing I noticed.
Jacksonville here, so um, I'm right here in Orange Park, actually.
Oh, are you?
Yep, and I
Well,
probably work. You're up near the airport. I work at the beer plant on Dunn Avenue there.
Okay, you're only about 15 minutes away from me.
Is that right?
Yeah, if you wanna hit me up offline on Facebook or whatever, you
I'll
can
do
you
that.
can hit me up if you want to come by and take a look at one and see. Of course, mine's still the prototype. I don't have a production unit, but I can kind of show you what we do have on the shelves here, and I can show
Right.
you one working and go from there. But yeah, like Brian said, I mean, the return on investment on these things is ridiculous. Yes, they are
Okay.
expensive, but um,
They
they're,
pay for
they're
themselves real
they
quick.
pay for themselves, especially when you're doing like bulk orders, because the repeatability with the rotary is, I mean, in my opinion, biased opinion, I guess, is probably second to none right now. But um, so I mean, it it really just depends on what you want to do. And you're here in Orange Park. I mean, you got all this stuff over there. You got the Navy bases and uh,
Yeah,
all the different realtors and stuff over on Blanding. I mean, you
exactly. I
got
got realtor friends, who
yeah.
are doing excellent
you
right now.
Yep.
You can do realty. I did a little bit. I was the tech guy at one. I didn't sell houses, but their big thing is they had teams. And if you can get into one of their meetings, they usually have weekly meetings, and they'll let people come in and you take a breakfast platter, biscuits or something, and a gallon of orange juice and give it to all the agents and show them your stuff. And you can show them
Yep.
all your closing gifts and all that kind of thing. And then hit the admin on the way out and say, hey, thanks for letting me in here. Here's a little acrylic torch with your name on it saying you're the world's best, whatever. And then you can catch the admin side for all of their awards and cups and things like that.
Yep.
I like that. Yeah, I'm definitely going to get one. I think that'll round out my business,
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
Yeah,
I'll get with you, Jason.
All right, yeah, get with me. Any day during the week, just let me know.
Ooh.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, one other thing, kind of to the local market idea. One thing that I found is there's lots of online businesses, right? Turnaround time has been something that I found is a nice little niche, right? Mother's Day this weekend, right? I'm getting requests for gifts right now to try to have them in time for Mother's Day. Last minute shoppers that can't buy stuff online and have it custom made and turned around that quick. You can find yourself, if you're willing to do it, is fitting in that last minute niche, right? Hey, I can turn this around in a day for you if you didn't plan or had an unexpected gift need, and that's something that I found that helps to differentiate you in the market, where there may be a lot of people that do tumblers online, but a lot of people can't turn them around to someone for a local pickup or delivery within a day.
Yep. That and your availability to the customer it goes a long way too. If you're the kind of person or company that hey, get with us, we'll get back to you when we can, kind of thing. It helps to be there when someone needs or a question answered or something like that, and with not just to kind of plug the road or anything, but it's one of those things is if you don't have it and then the need comes up, you'll potentially lose a job for a long time. Like I got into fiber because I had a local shop that wanted some stuff engraved, but I couldn't engrave it. And luckily I was able to recover that account, and I do it for them still today. But it's one of those things is if you don't have the ability, then you may potentially lose more business down the road. And that stands for, anything that you do within the business, because laser engraving is such a broad area.
That's what I like about it.
Yeah. So you're not so much limited on what the machine can do. You're more limited on what you allow yourself to do. Like me, I'll take someone's 150-year-old hand-me-down from grandma or great grandma, and I'll engrave it without any issues. But some people aren't comfortable doing that. So those are kind of things that you want to try to be as available as possible.
You've got a stack of waivers on your front desk then, huh? And a pen,
No,
a couple of pens.
No, but I make them. I make it very.
I could real easily mess it up, and then be owing the person money instead of making money.
Yeah, I mean that's like I said, that's the niche that I decided to go after in the market that we're in here in my area. So that's the gamble that I took. I mean, if I'm not
quarterly, you have to consider that I would be almost double. I would make sure I can pay for that weapon out of my cost, damn near,
Yeah, but you got to watch yourself doing that too, because you'll price yourself out of business if you kind of go down that road. Because I mean, I did a $3,500 lever action that was a special edition, and the guy wanted engraving because on the side of it where it's hand carved, it had a little flat spot that was left for like a plaque, and he had me engrave that. So I mean, I didn't want to pay for that. Weapon. I didn't want to pay for that if I messed it up, but there's no way I could price it to where I would be able to cover any costs that I incurred from damaging it. So
just don't mess up.
I got to
Yeah.
do some practice runs on some cheap wood and make sure you got it nailed in.
Yep.
Then
And that's
go
the
for
thing. And that's the thing too is sometimes you don't know what kind of wood it is. You don't know how it's going to react. Like I had a guy come here the other day with a cup that he bought that was crazy expensive, and I was unsure of the coating on it, and I had to turn him away because one, the cup was expensive. Two, I made him aware of the risk and he wasn't willing to accept it. And so I told him I couldn't do it. Now if the customer says, yeah, let's give it a shot and see what happens, I'll do it to see what happens. But they know in advance. You just got to make sure it's clear, like Brian said, waivers and stuff. You could do it however you want, but you just want to make the customer aware that these are the potential outcomes that could happen. Not foreseen, but they can happen. Like doing glass. If you engrave glass, I always let everybody know if I do glass, it could break because it can. Especially tempered glass. If it gets too hot, it will shatter. So you let people know well in advance of what you're doing and what could possibly happen, and if they're willing to accept those risks and you're willing to try it, then you might have something that you can do, you know.
Sounds good.
Sorry, I was answering a support question. Well, anybody else have any questions? Somebody has to.
You got all these people, someone's gonna have a question.
I
Hey,
know.
Brian. I do. This is Ken.
All right. Hey, Ken.
You know, I've been running, well, I was trying to do a pretty large plaque, and I've got a 3500. And I keep getting this overscan error that comes up. And obviously I was reading the article about speed and how quick you can engrave versus the size. And is there like a cheat sheet that we got somewhere that kind of shows like the faster you go, the narrow?
You mean like the boundaries, the buffer boundaries, depending on the speeds? There may be some way to do that. I don't know that there's anything published that way. I mean, we could figure it out, you know.
I didn't know if there was something out there, because I was able to do it. I had to kind of shrink the size of the engraved area down such that it would kind of fit within the boundary, but it was all kind of trial and error, and I just didn't know, like, you know, if you're running at 400 millimeters of, you know, you need to be.
Are you taking up the entire space of your machine on the work that you're doing? Okay.
Yeah, you can offset that by slowing it down to a certain extent, depending. Like if you have a 35-inch cutting area, like end to end, and you're doing 35 inches, there's no way around it. But if you're doing something that's 33 inches on a 35, you can play with the speed and the power and lower them sequentially to get to the point where you can do your frame and it'll actually frame. If it frames out, that's a good indication. Yeah.
Just on paper, you know.
Yeah. Well, there's no
400 millimeters. You have to be 6 millimeters away from zero, or
there's no
at 800. I mean, you could make one easy enough just by getting a piece of material and dragging a square over until it runs on each speed.
But
we can figure that out. But
would that be repeatable throughout every machine? Because every machine is slightly different.
It would be close enough for him to go, oh yeah, my design is X wide, and I know I can go at least X fast before it gives me the error, and he could just refer to that little cheat sheet every time.
Then you got to worry about the power too, because if you leave 50% power and you drop from 400 down to 100, you're going to burn the crap out of that material. So you have once you find the speed that works. Once you find a speed that works, then you can kind of tweak your power to get the same results with less power at a slower speed.
Yeah, that's kind of what I've been doing, playing around, but I just didn't. I had a customer that wanted pretty much something at the max width, and you know, I've had to kind of shrink it down ever so slightly to get it to work. But I just didn't know if there was a
What kind of
Usually,
artwork is it? Is it just text, or is it an image or a graphic or a little bit of everything?
A little bit of everything.
Because
you
It's a,
you could use the pass through and do it in 2 sections, if the artwork would lend itself to that even,
yeah.
yeah.
Usually,
Yeah, I
usually
thought
when
about
I do any, usually when I do anything, say I have a 24 or what is it, 26 inches or something for the 24. Whatever it is, I usually give myself about 2 inches on either side. So if I have a 26-inch cutting area, I'll go down. I'll say I can only do up to 22 inches. Or like Brian said, if the artwork allows and you can split it in some way to where you can use a pass through, then that would be obviously the optimal way to do it. But you don't want to tell people how big your machine is, because then they're going to think that they can get something that size, which is not
the
right.
yeah, and you could
necessarily
also,
true.
if it's skinny enough, you could put it in diagonally. I've had some issues where somebody brought something over and it wouldn't fit, but we just lay it in there sideways and then just skew the graphic, so.
Yeah, the one I've been working on is actually, they wanted it 36 by 24, which is the same size as the bed. And I'm like, nah, it ain't going to work there. So we've kind of had to negotiate down a little bit. And
Yeah.
so far they've been okay with it. But I just was sitting there thinking, I'm like, if we had like if there was a cheat sheet or something that I could kind of look
Yeah.
at to say, hey, but I think I like the idea of just saying, okay, 2 inches on each side, then that's probably a pretty good safe zone.
Yeah. Typically, you can get the speed down low enough to where the overswing won't give you the slop error.
And the other thing, if you are doing graphics that are split up and it's all engraving, instead of doing all the layer at once, you could do it by individual object if there's a lot of white space between them, and shave a lot of time off your engraving. So that would afford you the opportunity to go slower, and still not waste a whole bunch of time. Of course, that'll depend on the graphic.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Or
Thanks.
just get another laser.
Got to get this one
Yeah.
moving more than it is right now. So.
Yeah. Got to start somewhere.
The other question, if nobody else has one, as I was able to do it, but have you had anybody request changes to the Rotoboss such that you could do a half-gallon jug engraved?
Oh, you can do a half-gallon jug.
With the Junior?
You'll have to prop up the motor in, but yeah.
Well, that's what I ended up doing.
Yeah.
But I also had to kind of change the arm that holds it down, because the jug I had, actually, it was hitting on the inside rim where the
Okay.
threads were. But I just didn't know if you guys had already done something different where, like, the rear end, I couldn't get the rear end to drop low enough, so I had to prop the front end up.
Yeah. Well, the Rotoboss is the solution to that. Otherwise, propping it up is the only way to do something big like that on the Junior. And depending on what size machine, you said you have the 35? Yeah. So you could fit a Rotoboss in there, and that adjusts on both sides to allow you to raise and lower either end of it to accommodate stuff like that. Do you?
Oh no, I guess I need to look. I thought I had the Rotoboss.
Well, they're all Rotobosses. There's a low roller, which is for the Nova 24, and then the Junior, which is the only other one we used to carry, which is for the Nova 35 and up, and it's got an adjustment, a vertical adjustment only on one side. The Rotoboss, the full Rotoboss, has vertical adjustments on both sides.
Oh yeah, I've only got the one side.
Yeah, that's a Junior.
Yeah.
And that's typically the one we prescribe, just because up until about eight months ago or something, that's the only one that we had.
Yeah.
And then we just started offering the full Rotoboss as an option, basically. So.
Okay.
But I mean, you can get it upgraded to the Rotoboss. I mean, if it's something that you wanted to do, you can get a hold of me, and we can go down that road if you want. But yeah, they can be upgradable.
Okay. Appreciate it.
All right. Trying to think if there's anything else that I had.
Hi, how y'all doing today?
Hey, how's it going?
I have maybe have an opportunity to buy one of y'all's machine used from a guy. It's like 3 years old, and I was just trying to figure out, how many different upgrades y'all have had within like the last 2-3 years.
Do you have any info on it, or have you seen it?
I haven't seen it. It's a 51.
Okay, so I've got a thing about the changes, about some recent changes in the portal, and I'll link that in the chat. But what you want to look for is if it could or could not have dual air assist. It probably doesn't, being 3 years old, and it probably has the 5-pin rotary connection with a switch to actuate the rotary. But those are still current models. We still have parts for them and all that stuff. So, we got a bunch of those still out. Let me see if I can find that article real quick. Did you have any specific questions about it on like what to look for and what to be aware of and that kind of thing?
Not too much. Like I said, I've been actually researching this for a good while. Matter of fact, I talked to Cheyenne one time, and then I emailed Grant a couple of times. I was going to go out there because I'm actually in Texas. I'm in Houston, so I was going to go out there to the shop and check it out.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Cheyenne. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
All right. Matter of fact, I might be coming out there next week. My lady's on vacation, so we might end up going out there checking it out. It's only, about 3-4 hour drive from here. But just trying to weigh my options. Save a decent amount of money I can throw into material and different type stuff versus going ahead and buying the new one and having to wait.
Right. So yeah, and I'm going to send you a thing. There's a way you can check the machine parameters at the very least and see how many hours are on the tube, the run time on the motors and that kind of stuff. So you can actually have a little bit of, some odometer kind of information on the machine.
Right.
So, and I'll put a link to that in there as well.
I appreciate that.
Let's see. I forgot what that thing was called. I got too many articles in there. They all run together. But yeah, if anybody else has any questions, feel free to jump in or any comments or anything.
I got this done up that we're talking about before.
Wait, let me click so I just see you for a minute. Okay.
The air assist collar.
Yeah.
Or diverter, if you want to call it that.
Right.
I got that
for the standard 2-inch head, or will it fit the 4?
It'll fit it's made for the 2-inch.
Okay.
But it you can slide it up and down on the on the collar. So I have to check and see.
So it's not dependent on the nozzle. It doesn't attach.
It attaches to the collar where the nozzle screws into.
I gotcha. And then drapes down over the nozzle.
Yep. And then this, you basically what you do is when you do your autofocus, you'll drop it down to the table or your surface and then lift it up just slightly so it doesn't hit.
Mm-hmm.
And then that way it basically creates a pillow of air. It kind of blows it out the opening here in the back.
Right.
So it blows it out towards the back of the machine and away from your material. I had a couple of videos on the Global Thunder page. Once I got it done and I showed it in work with and without, kind of give you an idea of what it does. It doesn't completely eliminate the soot, but it does to the point where it's easily cleanable. Plus, actually, dropping stuff everywhere. All right, so like this, for example, the top part is done without the diffuser, and the bottom piece is done with the diffuser. So you can tell the difference in the soot and how dark the engraving is and everything. That basically it super cools everything as it comes out and doesn't allow it to kind of fester and basically burn like it does on that without the nozzle.
Right.
I'm trying to see. There's another. Yeah. So here's another. We're trying to see my camera while I'm doing this. So you see on the top one how it's got all the soot and tar kind of around the edges. That's without the diverter, and then you got the one on the bottom with the diverter. So it helps with keeping all that stuff out and clean up and everything, especially on virgin wood that don't have any kind of coating or something on it to seal it. It helps keep from staining the edges and everything.
Right. Yeah. I might have to try one of those out. You'll have to sell me one.
Yeah, man.
So cool. Well, does anybody else have anything?
I do have a quick question. Hi, guys.
Hey, man.
Been trying to read and trying to find out what the cardboard and the little cube is for.
The cardboard is the beam signature in the near field of your laser tube. That's just what your beam signature looks like coming out. Should be about 6 millimeters in diameter, about like a number 2 pencil eraser. And that's what that's the diameter of the beam right when it comes out of the tube. So that's a test thing, and they just let you have that. And the other one in the acrylic is the actual beam. They shoot it into that acrylic so that you can see the beam signature from the side. So it's a QC test, but they leave it with the machine so that you can see that your beam is vertical.
Okay. And then lastly, I saw your post about the dust cover for the tube. I have a 35-100, and it didn't come with one. How do we get a hold of those?
I'll have to get you one. I don't have any. I'll have to get with China and have them send me a few. I'll get some of those on the way. It may be before they started putting them in those bags, and attaching them to the bed, they would put them in the tube, but they would vibrate out being 2 weeks on a ship, and they'd end up rolling around in the bottom of the machine. So you may want to take a flashlight and look around. It may be in a weird spot. We've found it sitting on top of like the wire, the wire cabling system, wire management. We've seen it tucked behind there. So it may not hurt to just give a peek in all the doors and make sure it's not hiding in a corner behind a wire wrap or something somewhere. But and you probably ought to send a support ticket in. That way I won't forget. Just shoot an email to support@thunderlaserusa.com and just say you're missing your dust cap and or dust tube, whatever it is, and I'll get that in the works for you.
Okay, thank you so much.
Sure. I'm answering on a chat here. Let's see. Temp stays intelligent mode. It stays within 5 degrees of whatever the ambient temp is. Well, that's about all I got for today, guys. Man, there's a bunch of people on there. I thought we'd be overflowing with questions. I was all set to send this thing over into overtime.
I could ask a quick question. When
sure.
Adding the pressure gauge to the unit, and you're putting the grommet in, I know it's supposed to be 6 mil for the airline, but what is the spread of the the opening in the sides? What does that need to be to go for the metal?
Oh, you mean for the grommet?
Yeah, for the grommet. Where
so
the
it'll all fit?
Yeah, because it's the ones I'm running into are like 2 mil, and I didn't know what the thickness of the metal was.
Oh, yeah, I can tell you that real quick. I think I got a micrometer here. I think this is the same metal. Yeah. Let me see. I'll get a measurement for you. You zero it out. Somebody will probably beat me to it. 2.2 millimeters. Let me lock it down.
What are you measuring?
The thickness of the cabinet.
Oh.
The thickness of the steel in the frame. The framework up by the air assist stuff.
I think it's about 2 mil.
Yeah, it's 2.2 is what I'm getting. 2.2 mil. Yeah.
And also too, I did notice that looking at the chat, I think Chris had a question too that no one's
about the chiller.
No, it's
that was Rick.
Question on tags, and I don't know what they meant by that.
I just got a quick question.
Yeah, sure.
So we'll see how good this works.
Okay.
Of course, my camera ain't gonna be connected. Damn it. So I did that power scale test, on that row mark, and I can see where the laser actually went back and forth, back and forth. So I have gray lines instead of a white, pure white background. Does that mean I have to double click on the layer and move those lines in closer to each other?
That's your scan gap or your line interval, which also relates to lines per inch. So it depends on your focus. Also, you could defocus a little bit. Your focus and your line interval work together. So if you're getting those lines, you need to tighten up your line interval or defocus a little bit, typically.
Okay, so which one would be better? Because I did the power scale thing and it kind of warped it. It gave it so much power that it warped the material. So my guess is, but I'm doing little stenciling, so I would probably have to be in focus and bring in that line gap.
Well, the line interval always relates to what the dot size that you're actually producing is really even more important than what the beam size is, because on anodized aluminum, for instance, you'll get a more constant and accurate beam signature of what the beam waste looks like as you would if you did it in birch ply, for instance. So in your instance, I would say that material holds its definition pretty good, especially if you don't burn it, overheat it. So I think I would probably tighten up the scan gap a little bit, increase the line interval. Yes.
All right, I'll try that.
Or
See
decrease
what
the line,
happens.
decrease the gap in the lines. So what are you
Right, to
running
bring
at
it closer.
right now? Yeah. What's your line interval right now?
That I don't know. I don't have the file open with me.
Gotcha. Okay. We generally say about 0.08, but I would say at least 0.06, something like that. Give that a shot. I haven't messed a whole lot with that 2-color board or that Gemini or Duets or any of that stuff. There may be some others on here that have more experience processing that stuff than I do.
All right, I'll try bringing that down to like a 0.06 or a point and see what that does.
Okay. But yeah, that should take those lines out, and maybe try defocusing just a little bit. That'll soften it up a little bit.
Hey Chris, which power test did you do? Where did you get the file from, or did you make one yourself?
Yeah, the one I made's kind of weird.
I don't know. Brian sent it to me.
Okay, that could be your first problem, right?
Yeah.
There is a on that website that you've linked that we mention at least once a week on this call, right? There is one a test file for your line gap as well, right?
Yep.
Or so you can use that rather than just plug it in the setting manually and run that file, and you can see which one looks better, right?
Is that the power scale one?
It's the well, no, I'm gonna put a link to it. It's the engrave interval that's how you look at your line interval and see how your beam is, and you can actually have a visual representation of it. But I just linked the interval test, and then I'm gonna link the entire, the main Laser Tools link that has all of the tools in it combined.
All right, I'll look at that. Cool, thanks.
Sure.
I'll get this thing nailed on sometime.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. So, all right. Well, you know what? If anybody, you got something, Jeremy?
Oh.
No, Brian, did you catch any grief from the non-recording last week?
Well, no, because I just mentioned it the first time publicly about 20 minutes before we started or something like that. So I skated out. Nobody asked about it. So I chickened out. But I did mention it at the beginning, so they'll be able to know about it after they watch this one. So
yeah, but you said that before you started recording.
Yeah, I probably did.
Now you got to trim the end of this one as well.
Yeah, nah, I don't play that way. I won't backpedal. I'm gonna let it out there. So all right. Well, I guess
before we go, I just want to thank everybody, Brian and all of you. Getting a lot of information. Everything laser is brand new to me, so I'm learning a lot of stuff from all of you guys. Thank you very much.
Sure, absolutely, anytime. Hey Al, looks like you got your headset on now.
Hey,
Hey, buddy.
I finally figured it out. So I got a question. I added the red dot pointer to my Mini 60. Got it all set up, and I'm wondering how much power loss I'm gonna get by running through that beam combiner. Because I'm having, after I put that in, I'm having a little bit, not impossible, but a little more difficulty cutting. So I'm wondering how much power I'm losing through that beam combiner.
Yeah, well, that was a CloudRay kit, and I'm not sure where they get those optics for those beam combiners. You're definitely going to get some loss. There's always going to be some loss, and I would like to say that it was negligible, but it depends on the quality of that optic more than anything. I don't have a number, now I could test, well, it'd be on a different wattage, but I mean, at least we could get a percentage of, maybe I could do a test on mine and test my power before and after the beam combiner and see if I could come up with a general idea of what kind of losses you could expect,
Could I get a different optic that would go into that same CloudRay bracket?
Another optic?
Yeah.
Yeah, you could get one from 2.6 or APC or someplace like that. I'm not saying that optic isn't any good either. I just don't know if it is or not. You know what I mean?
Okay. Sure. Yep.
Usually CloudRay stuff is usually pretty good stuff. They try to keep good vendors on hand.
If you get it through CloudRay and you're not in a big hurry, I usually get it straight from their AliExpress page because it's cheaper than buying it off Amazon.
That's where I got mine.
On the AliExpress page? Yeah. Amazon, you can get them pretty quick if they have them in stock, but they're probably, you save about $5 or $6. I mean, it's not a whole bunch, but I mean, it's still something. Getting it from them online.
Right.
Yeah. So cool.
Other than that, that's about all I had for this time. I figured I at least better start vlogging.
Yeah.
And maybe see if I can learn something. So
right. All right, man. Well,
I
guess
Jason, do you have a link to that sleeve that you had?
To the what?
To that sleeve that you were showing, the air disperser?
Let me see. I don't know if I put it on my site yet. Because I was kind of trying. I was still messing with it, and I hadn't officially released it.
Okay.
I have the one in there.
That would be something I would be interested in because a lot of
that. Okay. Yeah, I'll get that put in there here probably tonight when I get back to the house. I'll probably sit down and mess with that and get it up on the site, but right now it's not up there. So, but yeah, I'll get it up there for you.
What is your site?
It's rotary-attachments.com.
Okay. Oh, right there. Okay, I see it.
Yep.
Okay.
That's all I had.
Hey,
Thanks,
Rick,
Brian.
Did you start a ticket, or were we doing that in a message?
For what? Who are you talking to?
Rick. I think we were in a message. Hey, the best way for me to answer your chiller question is probably for you just to email support@thunderlaserusa.com, because all of my resources are there, and I'll shoot you the links, and I'll be able to talk to you more about it. Okay, cool. All right. Well, I guess I'll catch you guys next week. And
cool.
Until then, don't burn anything down, I guess. I'm gonna stop.